1996 Off-Road Racing Championship moved to Gaborone in Botswana for round 4 of the series, the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. This was the 4th consecutive year that the event has been based in the dry diamond-rich country. Traditionally, the Toyota 1000 has always been a popular race, and with it counting towards the Total Super Series 96, a large crowd gathered to witness the next round of the championship battle between reigning production champions R.P. Renica and navigator Robin Houghton, with hopefuls Neil Woolridge and Paul Vermaak in their Nissan Soni.
Ons type voertuig is meer gemaak vir hierdie lang afstande, of ons het hom gebou vir hierdie langer, harder type bijeenkomste. Ons kan nie op hierdie kort bijeenkomste, omdat het geweldige zwaar voertuig is hierdie en streng gesproken nie eintlik gemaak is om reisies te jaag nie.
Nissan Soni driver Neil Woolridge had a conservative strategy in mind.
Last year we lost four-wheel drive and we didn't finish. But this year we got a bit of a different strategy. We're not going to push as hard as what we normally do in the beginning and make sure we get to the end. I think if we can get to the end, we'll be there.
The motorcycles are split into 3 classes, and Kawasaki dominate the 200 class, while KTM holds a narrow advantage over Honda in the 250s. Multiple champion Alfie Cox seems to have things much his own way in the open class on his KTM 360.
You know, the 1000 is a race all on its own. I mean, we normally only race 500 kilometers. This time it's 1000, so it's 2 times the distance. And I believe always the race is won on the last day coming home. And just to get to the overnight stop, be fresh, you know, have no problems, and then the next day try and, you know, do the same.
There is intense rivalry between the Castrol KTM and the mighty Lesotho Office Equipment Honda team.
Yeah, everybody wants to beat Alfie. I'd like to beat Alfie, but my main thing is now is just to worry about Alex to win the championship. I must rather look to win the championship than I think that'll be the best.
Father and son crew Franz Czepik Sr. and Jr. have a narrow advantage over single-seater drivers Richard Carolyn and former circuit racer Marius Burain in the specials category.
You know, we're running a smaller motor, we're running class B, 2-litre class, but if the sand gets very thick, we're going to battle a bit on power. The motor we've got is also very peaky. It's got its maximum horsepower around about 8,000 RPM, which is quite high. And it hasn't got too much low down, so we'll have to change a lot of gears. But hopefully we'll get it floating on top of the sand, and hopefully there are some nice long straights.
Vickers van Deventer and Christa van der Merwe dominate their respective classes in the spectacular quad category, which could be described as a Yamaha benefit category.
Well, hier is amper vir party mense 'n riller, die sand. Dis harde werk hierdie. Ek geniet dit, hoe harder en hoe tyre, hoe beter is my, hoe verder, hoe lekkerder is dit. Maar ek gaan hierdie keer nie so my kop my laat verloor nie. Ek gaan stadiger ry. Ek het nie niks om te bewys om so vinnig te jaag hierdie keer. Ek my fiets spaar. My fiets gaan oor 'n week gaan na Portugal toe. Ek gaan daar ry, so ek my fiets spaar. Dis die belangrikste vir my op die stadium.
There are 3 BRECKLE brothers who compete in off-road racing, Mark, Paul and Peter. We spoke to Paul about their hobby.
Okay, it takes a hell of a lot of effort from us. I mean, preparing the bikes and that sort of thing. It's a lot of time consumed and money. Very expensive riding a quad. I break down all the time. I'm burning my bike out every single race. I've only finished one this year. Planning on finishing this one.
One of the first riders to tackle the 30-kilometre time trial, which determined Friday's starting order, was Billy Kutsia on his unusual Polaris, one of only 2 non-Yamahas in the field. Route marking proved to be confusing, and amongst those who lost a lot of time were Kevin Pereira and race favourite Van Deventer. Recent unseasonal rains ensured that competitors had to keep an eye open for mud. Most riders opted for the cautious approach and bypassed the mud rather than risk getting bogged down, but Peter BRECKLE threw caution to the wind and blasted straight through. Quickest of all, though, was Paul BRECKLE on the Brasco Refrigeration Yamaha, who simply mowed through both the grass and the mud. Christa van der Merwe also lost time by getting lost and was second to Shane Dreers in the 200cc class. Hidden dongas and painful thorn bushes were other obstacles that riders had to contend with, and with over 900 kilometers still to go, no one was taking any chances. It certainly was an unusual finishing order as the BRECKLE brothers found themselves filling the top 3 places ahead of Paul Martin's Honda, Adrian High and Van Deventer. With Errol Dalton back in the saddle after breaking his leg in a jet ski accident prior to the Barbaspan 500 race, the Lesotho Office Equipment Honda team was back up to its full strength of 5 riders and was hoping for a good result. Following Dalton on the time trial were 250 champion Graham McLaughlin, Alan Julian, Grant Bloomfield on their CR500s and Lance Trethewey on a 250. Former 500 class champion Rian Fadikak has adapted well to his smaller PD Motorcycles Honda CR125 and was charging. However, it was Wayne Farmer who emerged as quickest of the 200 class, that with his Kawasaki KDX 200. Motocrosser Gary Peterson made a rare off-road racing appearance with a Honda CR500 run under the BRECKLE brothers Brasco Refrigeration banner. Consistent performances have become a trademark of Ulrich Moray, and his KTM 360 led the KTM team onto the time trial. Following him was Nelspruit rider Marco Cavina on another 360, whose style made him a favourite with the local fans. One of the fastest young talents around at the moment is the hard-riding AGA Panasonic Pro Action Castrol KTM 250 star Daryl Curtis. After a 2-year layoff from off-road competition, Willie Island teamed up with Mark Myron to share a most unusual bike.
This mad friend Mark Myron, he forced me into it, you know, and it's also been a little bit of an itch. I need to get out of town and just go mad again.
There's this monster riverbed out here.
The US steel Fuchs lubrication Husaberg certainly attracted a great deal of attention.
It's a Husaberg. It's a motorcycle that was produced from 2 brothers who left Husqvarna, and they went and designed their own motorcycle 4 years ago. And the same motorcycle, the last 2 years, has won the 500cc World Championship motocross event with Joel Smets aboard. And it's a very, very fast motorcycle. It's a 4-valve 500cc. It's the same weight as the CR500, KX500 of today, 108 kilograms. It's very reliable, and we're going to give it a good run today and tomorrow and see how it lasts.
Curtis emerged from the time trial with the quickest time ahead of teammate Cox and the storming Peterson. Cavina served notice of his intentions by recording the 4th fastest time ahead of a Honda Onslaught. After a season's layoff, winners of the event in 1993, John Lambert and Eric Scholz, were hoping to repeat the feat this year in their newly rebuilt and modified Digidor Porsche Raceco. The tight time trial route provided little room for overtaking, and traffic jams became commonplace. Those unfortunate enough to be caught behind slower vehicles had to contend with the resultant dust clouds, which caused some navigational errors. Reigning special vehicle category champions Greg Harvey and Lionel Acton lost this event last year by a very small margin and were hoping for a good starting position, but they fell foul of the route marking and lost a couple of minutes. Another team which favoured its chances was that of Stanley Illman and Franz Stungel in the high-tech Tiptronic gearbox-equipped and very powerful Porsche Raceco. Well, it may look like an old Beetle, but in the back of Yaki Hubert's steed lurks a turbocharged Volvo engine, complete with Audi gearbox and 4-wheel drive. Once again, Kasi Kutsia and Richard Leek were at the helm of Team Toyota's 10-year-old but still very rapid Hilux Turbo, which is affectionately known as Fred. Bearing in mind that there were still 2 days of racing and over 900 kilometers ahead of them, the Chefek started cautiously, staying on the track at all times so as to keep well away from the tire-shredding thorns that characterize the Botswana flora. Mike Redden and Wyatt Joseph have opened a few eyes with their performances in the near-standard 4.6 Land Rover TDI, and there is talk of other manufacturers fielding turbo diesels in the near future. Rob Walk won the 94 event in a single-seater raceco. This season he has Greg Wiebel aboard as navigator and would dearly like to win again. Gaborone crew Rashid Noble and Steve Cooper had the advantage of local knowledge, but it didn't help them and they were destined to start a lowly 39th. Hard work after rolling on the last event saw former champions Richard Schilling and Ashley Thorne set a brisk pace in the huge Motortech V8 raceco. Nick Harper and Richard Hill found themselves holding up local hero JJ Volmeran's similar raceco, and as soon as it was convenient, pulled off to let him through. Courteous people, these off-roaders. After finishing off his new car in the early hours of the morning and then driving straight through to Botswana, Bucks Carolyn and navigator Kenny Scholthammer immediately set about putting the automatic lubrication equipment Porsche Raceco through its paces.
The Roof and the Desert are the two most important races, so to win these two, they're the most prestige events, and hopefully we can attract some sponsors. We're looking for sponsors all the time, and off-road racing is growing at the moment. With the Total Super Series is going to be fantastic, so this is a growing sport.
Volmeran's recorded the fastest time, but the big surprise was the performance of Marius Burain in the nimble Golf-powered Mighty Mag single-seater, which claimed third. Friday's route saw the field head northwest to the designated service point and then complete another loop of 250 kilometers before the overnight stop.